here person. You have the helm?
I have a helm, yes.
Well, Markland is a group that the basic time period that they work in is around the years of 1066, around the Battle of Hastings, the era of the Vikings and the Saxons and the Normans. During that time, today we got together with another company of Markland called Danelaw. We're the Northern Fyrd. What we're going to be discussing today is going to have a council meeting on how we're going to get down to an event called the Spring War, which happens obviously every spring. It's about the biggest fighting event that we do every year. My Marklandic name is Danon Volkoven. I'm the Thane of the Northern Fyrd. Basically what I am is I'm the leader. I've been in Markland I'm going on my 4th year this year, and basically I've got the most experience out of anybody here. I've been to about 7 or 8 events, and I don't know, they look to me every time there's a question on what to do or what should be done.
Assistant Jarl.
Assistant Jarl, eh?
I'm the Jarl in the absence of the real Jarl. Because
he dies.
No, because he goes to Maryland, which is just as well as dying.
I'm the smithy of this Fyrd, or one of them anyway. I'm in charge of making armor and weapons and making sure they're all safe and legal and things, according to the rule of our Jarl over here. I've been in Markland about 2.5 years now.
And what made you join it?
What made me join it? Interest in the period.
And what'd you get out of it?
What did I get out of it? I got a lot more knowledge of the period. It's a lot of fun, and I got to
A couple of doctor bills.
My real name is Mary Serafino, alias Nova, in the Markland and the SCA, in the King's Army Colonial Militia. I am Jarl of the Danelaw of Northern New Jersey. I go to Jersey City State College as a full-time student. That's what I do during the day as per work. Off work, I make weapons. I try to make chainmail very unsuccessfully. I can't get the weave right. And I try and keep things together for the Danelaw.
Jarls are supposed to, I don't know, just hang out and lead. Not really. I trained a fighter.
You're supposed to train all new fighters.
Yeah, I trained one fighter. He's my squire. He's the only new fighter anyway. Make sure everyone's protected and doesn't get hurt. Make sure that weapons meet standards, and that if anyone gets out of line, just bop them on the head.
Watch the glasses, Rich.
Yeah.
Try not to trust. That was definitely
dead.
Oh, nice. What?
Wet ground of yours, too dark.
I mean, he was supposed to take a lucky character.
Yeah.
Rich was wondering, did he hit me harder?
Okay, show us on this
Okay.
noble warrior here what the death blows are.
Okay.
He's just been taunted.
Anything on the helmet kills.
Yeah.
All right. Hits that hit here tend to kill, and there's a small problem as to where the limit to the kill is on the shoulder. Anything over here takes off an arm. Anything to the chest, below the neck, to right about there, kills. That takes off a leg, and anything below the knee is illegal. How's that?
How do you
What we're going to be doing, what they usually do is, if you have a nice big shield, good thing to do is crouch down low behind it. If I had a bigger shield, is there a bigger shield around?
Nova! Nova!
What? You know, this shield is made for a huge forearm. You gotta speak up, the padding, I can't hear.
Okay, you're fighting!
Yeah?
What do you want to fight?
Well, I'm a little bit overweight, so any workout I can get is a blessing.
Get rid of the shield no matter what happens.
Wait, one sec.
Training continues into the year as moves are choreographed and more experience is given as the warriors train with other members of Markland. Here the Northern Fyrd is training with members from Danelaw from northern New Jersey. A moot was held after the battle, a meeting to discuss how to get down to the Spring War and other important matters of the field.
You don't necessarily have to be interested in fighting, you know, you just have to be interested in the Middle Ages and perhaps have some skill that, you know, something make a craft or something like that. Basically just show interest and be able to get involved with what we do.
Explain chainmail.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where doth you get your chainmail from?
To make them myself, sir. Well, traditionally, they would take iron and pound it out into flat sheets and cut the sheets into thin strips and take each ring and bend it individually and rivet it together. The way we make chainmail today is out of steel wire, which we get down at the hardware store. There's down at Ivan's hardware store. Certain thicknesses of steel work better. 14 gauge steel works good with 3/8 inch links, which is what this is. 16 gauge steel works good with 1/4 inch links, which is what I'm wearing now. Now the way we make this is take the wire and bend it around a steel pole, something like this, until you get a spring. Take the spring and you cut the little links off, and this takes a long time. So there's like 2 links I just cut off. Then you take the links and you close them together like this. So you close a whole bunch of them, and you start making little 4-on-1s. Then these 4-on-1s are joined together into chains. The chains are laid out side by side and linked together with another piece, and then closed. And as you can see, it takes a long time to make a full suit like this. And you keep joining the chains together so you get a piece like this. Then you take a piece like this and wrap it around your chest to get your basic measurements. Then you build pieces of chainmail for shoulder straps, extend the suit down as far as you want it, and then you add on sleeves. And that's how you make chainmail. It takes about 10 hours to do 100 feet, and there's about 1,000 to 1,200 feet in a suit. So you can see it takes about 1,000 hours, which myself, I worked about every day over the summer for about 3 to 6 hours, and it took me about a month to finish my shirt here. So it's like a piece of me, a part of my soul is carried in my chainmail. This day I shall fight and sacrifice my life for the honor of my lady. If I am victorious in battle, I will slay my opponent and wipe the blood off my sword with his neck. Odin! Save my ass!
Odin!
I look important, so my breath is cold.
I got this off a Hasdro, you see, after I cut his head off.
We can't hear you. Take off your helm.
Oh, so splendid. I got this off a Hasdro, you see. Alright, I'll take you close. Inside there too. Throwing mace.
Markland started about 15 years ago. It started down at the University of Maryland in Maryland.
The big events they have are called the All Thing. There's
There's
Winter
a summer
All
all thing, a winter all thing. Then there are 2 wars, a spring war and a fall war.
Right.
And then there are various recreationals like Hastings and what's
Attila
the
the
other
Hun's
one?
birthday.
Attila the Hun's birthday.
Feast of Fools.
Feast
Yeah,
of
the Feast of
Fools,
Fools.
right. And there's one more. Pensic Wars. The Pensic Wars are recreated.
Scott.
There's another organization called the Society for Creative Anachronism, and they are in some ways related to Markland, but in no way affiliated with Markland.
They don't use the padding, the armor flex that we use, and they use more body padding, and they have
They're also
stricter
more into
rules.
recreational.
Yeah, they're very strict as far as their garb and the way
Very strict.
and the way they act. You know, everybody has a title. You have to be a knight, or you have to do something like that.
And they yell very loudly if you do something that's mundane or that resembles our 20th century life.
The SCA has a tendency to be higher middle ages, lords and ladies, and the Markland tends to be up to about 11th century barbarian peasants who have the most fun.
I'd say, how do you put it? We don't have a lot of pride. You know, we have pride in what we do, but basically we give patronage to rape, plunder, pillage, and burn to the scum of the earth. You know, and it's more fun that way, to be more, you know, it's just more personable as opposed to being the snobbish knight who runs around with his nose up in the air, saving fair damsels in distress, because that's boring, that's bullshit, and it never happened, you know. Sit around and play chess all day. Bullshit. Go out and get a girl and a sack of gold and run off along the seacoast. You know, that's where it was.
But basically, Markland is more fun because they don't get hung up.
But that's just
in
his
medieval
opinion
age.
because he's never been in the SCA.
Yeah, I'm very prejudiced since I am a Marklander, of course.
And he's proud. That's really weird. Woo! No, not quite, but close enough.
This is where it is. A small farm in Delaware is transformed for a weekend into a battleground for over 100 medieval warriors from all over the eastern seaboard. This is Markland.
Maybe Barkon will come up today. He's the oldest Marklander we've got around.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm the Fondley.
Yeah, what do you do in this?
What do I do?
Are you
Well,
part of the bosses here, or what? Who's the head of this place?
Who's that? Actually, he is. He's responsible.
The guy in the chainmail?
That's Alderman. That's Edouard Denord, the Alderman. He's the head of our Witton. Witton is rather like a board of directors. Kent is the sheriff, which is sort of like the vice alderman, second in command.
And they're the ones who arrange everything?
What exactly do you guys do? You're on the Witton. Why don't you tell this guy what a Witton does?
Yeah, well, tell me what a
Other than
Witton
drink.
does.
I mean, you know, skipping the drinking, going straight to
Gosh, I don't drink. Supposedly, if everything goes all to heck, we're responsible.
That's right, yes. It's all their fault.
It's been 5 years now for me. Took me a little while to find it, but once I did, I've been in it ever since. And I was thinking about Civil War, but that was awful expensive to get into. So I found this one, which is much cheaper, because all you have to do is get a stick, a helm, and a shield, and you can steal the plywood, so it's a lot cheaper to do.
Yeah. Costumes can be made from bed sheets and old curtains and all sorts of things. Although a lot of people don't do that. You know.
About 13 years ago, it's 13 or 14 now.
I know it's actually more about 12. There were 4 students at the University of Maryland who were in the fencing class. As I understand it, they wanted to swashbuckle. And they were swashbuckling in the halls and things like that, and I think they actually got thrown out of the fencing class. And then in some peculiar fit of madness, they decided to do a recreation of the Battle of Hastings. And
it's been going on ever since.
It's been going on ever since, and I'm not sure Barkon will be here, but he's one of the original 4.
No fighting in my tent!
You're no fun.
Well, not that kind of fighting in my tent. I'd rather be full hungry late at night. I don't want to be staying up late at night.
Niall Sigmundson. I'm a mercenary.
All
by
right.
trade. I came to a fall war 2 years ago, which is the equivalent of what we're doing out here right now.
Yeah.
Acting like a bunch of fools, beating each other over the heads. And I loved it. And I was hooked ever since.
See why not? There's a break first time you hit somebody.
This guy
because of rattan or bend.
Thrust a bit slow, but it's got padding on the end.
Yeah.
This is the Johan style.
Oh yeah.
This is.
We just check the thrusting cap to make sure that people won't be butted by the rattan shape. I want to make sure that the padding here is not too firm and will keep the rattan from hitting the person. Checking the edges, make sure that they'll give a little bit.
Is there a hand?
Making sure that this is made out of rattan and overall lengths are appropriate. There's lights and heavies. A heavy can use any of the weapons that we permit. A light is restricted to using either a long pole arm, slashing pole arm such as this, or a handheld weapon that's under 24 inches, or a missile weapon of some sort. We're going to review some things just for those of you who are new. There's no hitting on the knee or below except by missile weapons. Anything that hits on the knee or below does not count, and if we see you doing it often, you'll be reprimanded by a reeve.
It does count if it's a missile weapon.
If it's a missile weapon, it does count. The heavies do not need to murder the lights. That's not at all necessary. When you are killed, those of you with shields, fall down on the ground, hide under them, and leave your helmet on until there's absolutely no fighting around.
After Kent, the sheriff, has given the rules, Odin and his counterpart in the back choose their warriors from amongst the people lined up in front of them.
Why don't you take your army at the base of the tree there?
Cuthbert Threepwood III has just been enlisted in my army.
Where'd we go? Here in my army. Over here. How you doing?
Very tacky.
The warriors suit up for battle
Oh, shoot, I'm glad he's over here.
Good. She's on our side.
and assemble in the field under the watchful eye of Kent.
Line up! On a straight line!
Anybody need arrows?
Come on, people, get in one line! Meet you guys in the back.
Yeah, well, I was back against it last time. Ready to fight? Cindy.
Where you all the archers?
I think that was a
Three, two, one,
Hey! Keep your helmet on.
Lay down.
Get an arrow right in the face like that.
Yeah, Frederick.
Look around, make sure there ain't no
Where are you from? Newark, Delaware. March to the war.
How long did it take you to make that?
I bought this actually, although I did work it over extensively after I got it. Bought it from a Scadian.
Okay.
Scadian armorers are a lot more concerned with having metal protection for their body, so bought right to one of them.
How's the battle going?
Well, they already had me switch sides once, so I guess I don't know.
We're on the wrong side. 21. It's a huddle. Oh, I see. Goes the reeve.
Badly. We're losing.
What do you do as a reeve? Describe your reeving in 10 words or less.
Coming out 10 words.
Well, how do you
Make sure that people play fairly.
What do you got to watch out for?
I don't know. What do we got to watch out for?
People dying, getting back
people
up again.
dying. People not taking shots. Yeah, if you get hit across the head, they don't fall down.
Broken weapons.
Yeah, broken weapons like phylogis.
How come you're reeving and not fighting?
I fought for about 3 years.
Yeah.
He owns my chainmail now.
Good reason.
After fighting in the field, everyone moves into the forest.
Why don't you take your people, form a line here. I will take my people, and I'll form a line behind you, and also to watch to see if they outback us. Okay, that sound good to you?
I will give you all the signal, in which case you want to survive whatever they're going to do.
Okay, we just stay here. Eh?
No, you might have to attack too.
Any boundaries?
No boundaries.
Okay, there's barbed wire in this wood.
Right, that is the back bounds.
Okay.
All right.
I will get
Michael's up by his tree.
Otherwise, hang on up there and just watch that fly. Okay?
Right.
Okay, thank you. The rest of the army here. Straggly looking lot it is. Okay. We're going to form a main line of resistance down here. And as soon as they come down here, we're going to run the fuck up there. Okay?
Brilliant. Love it.
Incredible. Okay.
Hey, Archers, you want to bring it back here, please? Good leg, Bob.
Get the hell out of him.
Okay, everything's covered. Yam. Sorry. Done well. Okay, sir. Warm up, warm up, warm up. Stay down. Ah, good. He is. Okay. Watch it. Some of you over here. Oh, shit. Come on, Marty. Stay with me. You're clear. Stay with you. Back up! Come on. Good ass. Whoa! Watch the barbed wire. Look at all the carnage.
Are you a dead archer? Yeah.
So,
war as hell, huh?
Anyone? That's mine. That's my bow.
Because it becomes more than a hobby, because most of us, our social lives consist of this.
You're revolving around the same people, even when you're different activities.
Yeah.
You're into the music or whatever.
For instance, we have a madrigal group which does not always function as part of this medieval group. It does totally separate things, but it's these same people.
What's the madrigal group?
It's the Markland Medieval Markland Madrigalia, that's it. We have the
medieval and Renaissance.
We own a longship. It's part of the group and yet it's separate. We have a dance group. We have, and basically, if we have a party, it's all these same people. If they play Dungeons and Dragons, it's all these same people. You know, you get to the point that when you go to a store, you go to a cloth shop, and you say, "I'm going to buy material to make skirts and blouses for work," and what do you end up buying? 9 yards of velvet.
geography next to journalism for my next.
Keep by thy mighty hand, O keep, the dwellers on the homeless deep. The spring gives an opportunity to visit family and friends beyond the mountains and rivers. In honor of the seas and friendships, I offer to the fire wood from which our vessels are made.
We give thanks to our God for quiet seas.
Hey, whoa.
The sun brings the growth of our grapes and hops.
Yeah.
And with the hops and grapes comes our beer and wine.
Yeah.
And with the beer and wine comes celebration, singing, friendship, action, and behavior which our wives disapprove of. In honor of spring and the sun, I have beer to give to the fire.
You?
Wait a minute. Shut up. Hurts me more than it hurts you.
Watch the flames shoot in here.
Giving it
Come on, Red.
It's not really a hobby, it's a way of life.
Fancy now.
Yeah, Markland.
Yeah, it's obvious.